श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदानश्चृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे श्रीगुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ श्रीशङ्कराचार्य स्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।
नमस्ते महोदय। मृणालिनी गोपालं भगिनी।
नमस्ते महोदय।
नमस्ते।
यतः प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यर्च्य सिद्धिर्विन्दति मानवः।
गुड।
राजलक्ष्मी भगिनी।
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्।
गुड।
विजयलक्ष्मी भगिनी।
सहजं कर्म कौन्तेय सदोषमपि न त्यजेत् सर्वारम्भा हि दोषेण धूमेनाग्निरिवावृतः।
धूमेनाग्निरिवावृताः।
धूमेनाग्निरिवावृताः।
गुड।
कृष्णपावनी भगिनी।
नमस्ते महोदय।
नमस्ते।
बुद्धिः सर्वत्र जितात्मा विगतस्पृहः नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति।
Second line again.
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति।
Good.
वीणा फानिश्री भगिनी।
सिद्धिं प्राप्तो यथा ब्रह्मा तदाप्नोति निबोध मे समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा।
Good.
ललिता भगिनी।
बुद्ध्या विशुद्धया युक्तः धृत्यात्मानं नियम्य च शब्दादीन् विषयान् त्यक्त्वा रागद्वेषौ व्युदस्य च।
Good.
शीला शिंदे भगिनी।
विविक्तसेवी लघ्वाशी यत्वाक्कायमानसः ध्यानयोगपरो नित्यं वैराग्यं समुपाश्रितः।
Good. So we'll go to use shloka for today.
गुरुमूर्ति महोदय।
अहंकारं बलं दर्पं
अहंकारं बलं दर्पं अहंकारं बलं दर्पं
कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं
कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहम्
अहंकारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं
अहंकारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहम् अहंकारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहम्।
Good.
Kashmira Bhagini.
Vimuchya nirmama shantah.
विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते
Vimuchya nirmama shantah. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Good. Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shantah brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
अहङ्कारं बलन्तर्प कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Good. Next.
Banu Rekha Bhagini.
अहङ्कारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Good. Next.
Sharat Chavan Mahodaya.
अहंकार बलम दर्पम कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्मम निर्मम शान्तः ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते.
Good. One more person.
Sai Lakshmi Bhagini.
अहङ्कारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तः ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Good. So Bhagavan in the sloka 41 to 49, he was summarizing the entire Karma Yoga, the importance of Karma Yoga from the perspective of Chitta Chutti, that is the Antakarna Chutti, which is essential for getting Jnana. So after 50th sloka, he is now transitioning into Jnana Yoga. And Jnana Yoga, one thing is that one has got to have a very clear understanding of Ishvara, Jagat Karanam, Ishvara, Jagat, Jivatma, Paramatma, Brahman, everything they have got to understand. That is the Jnanam. In 13th chapter also he said, no, that knowing oneself is the highest level of Jnanam. That's what is the thing. So the entire Jnana has been covered from Jnana, Vijnana Yoga and various kinds of chapters about the knowledge that needs to be had. So with a well-prepared mind, the knowledge is possible to come into the mind. But knowing a thing and experiential understanding is going to be totally different. So Bhagavan said that to make the jnana extremely internalized for you, you have to follow the three-step process. Okay. The first step in the process is Shravanam. Shravanam means learning scriptural things, learning all the Vedantic texts, etc. is Shravanam. And Mananam. Mananam is the way you are thinking about the learning. And then whatever doubts you have, you try to clarify it. Once any doubts that you are having in your learning, if those doubts are clarified, then the learning becomes much more stronger. So it is essential that one needs to have a Sravanam, which is supposed to be Ajnana Nivritti, followed by Mananam, which is going to be Samshaya Nivritti. So once a person has got Ajnana Nivritti and Samshaya Nivritti through Sravanam and Mananam, the next process is Nididhyasanam, where he is going to be doing a Vedantic meditation. The Vedantic meditation is the one that is going to make him experientially know what is that knowledge, what he has studied through Shravanam and Mananam. Okay, so Bhagavan has just started Vishuddhaya, Buddhaya. In that itself, with the previous sloka, he has already covered, I think 2 slokas before, he has already covered the Vishuddhaya, Buddhaya itself. He is supposed to take care of both Shravanam and Mananam. And then he says that the previous sloka, he said, Vivikta Sevi Lagvashi. He said you have to move into a very isolated place, a very calm place, and then Lagvashi, do not overeat yourself, keep your stomach relatively low in terms of the food, so that you'll be able to concentrate and do Nididhyasanam. And Nididhyasanam is the experiential understanding of the knowledge, right? So understanding that sodium, I told you, hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide will produce NaCl plus H2O is an understanding, but somebody doing it practically and seeing the formation of sodium chloride and water in the test tube in the chemistry laboratory is a different type of understanding. So Bhagavan says that Vedantic meditation, which is Nididhyasanam, which also is to some called as Jnana Nishta or Jnana Nishta. So he says that that is essential part in terms of internalizing the knowledge and experientially understanding what is Bhagavan, what is Brahman, what is the Jivatma, all those kinds of things you can understand only by Nididhyasanam, for which he said you have to go to a Vivikta Desha Ladvashi, you have to do in a isolated place yourself, totally undisturbed, and you are going to start internalizing what you learned, and your Nididhyasanam should be done. Now, when you start doing Nididhyasanam to understand who am I, then what happens is that there are a lot of obstacles one is going to face, right? For example, if you are going to have a wonderfully prepared land, and then the land is very well prepared, and then you have put a beautiful plantation of flowering plant. Let us say you have put a beautiful rose plant that's been already, saplings have been put in the rose plant. Field is prepared, plant has been already, the cut sapling has been already put in the thing, and then the plant is started to grow with the appropriate manure as well as watering, etc. Then what happens is that as it starts growing, before flowering to happen, we want the flowering to happen in the rose plant. Before flowering to happen, based on the nutrition that has been put and based on water that is being put, lot of weeds also will start coming up. So if you don't properly handle the weeds, the plant will suffer because the weed is capable of absorbing all the nutrition and also water. So one needs to ensure that when the growth is there, that time the weeds has to be properly taken care of, cut off. So any agricultural person, you will be seeing that they'll spend a lot of time in terms of weed removal, because the weed removal is going to be hampering the right growth of the plant. Similarly, in the case of Nididhyasanam, when you are doing that, ultimately what is that? Ultimate objective is that you need to understand yourself. So you are putting your effort onto that. That time, lots of weeds that will start growing will be coming in the way of your Nididhyasanam. What are those kinds of weeds? But Bhagavan says you have to appropriately address ahankaram. Your ego will come and it will always obstruct your meditative thinking process. So you have to address the ahankaram, ego. Then balam. Balam means your power. Your power means you may be very powerful in the organization. You may have a lot of authoritative thing in the society, etc., etc. So that also may come in the way of your own personal self-inquiry. So you have to handle the ahankaram. You have to handle the kind of power, the power that has gone into your mind, which is going to make you think differently. That needs to be handled, because humility is extremely important. Without humility, one will not be able to have a kind of spiritual growth. So alankaram, balam, darpam, arrogance. Arrogance is another kind of a thing that is going to come in the way of your spiritual growth. So ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, desires, krodham, anger, and then parigraham is possessiveness. I want to have more and more and more of things and start holding it with me, that parigraham. So all these kinds of things, vimuchya. He says that you please get rid of it, because these things are going to come at the time of Nididhyasanam. So this is what we say, that Nididhyasanam is also called as one of the processes by which Vasana Nivritti has to take place. What is Vasana Nivritti? Vasana means you have been living this way right from the time you are born. Even with your Purva Janma, Vasana also will be there. What are those kinds of things? Ego would have been there right from your birth. Your Balam, the power, maybe by virtue of your own success also this will come. Then you may, arrogance might be there in all of us. And then you may have these desires and anger, all those kinds of things will be there. And that is the Vasana that is there in the individual, which will come in the way of somebody to go move in the spiritual growth. So Bhagavan says, Vimuchya. Please get rid of all these kinds of things. So all these things are going to come up at the time of Nididhyasana. Get rid of them. And then nirmamaha. So ahankaram is what? Ego. I senses ahankaram. Then mamakaram is what? Mine. This is mine. My house. My these things. My position. my power, that is mamakara. So he says vimuchya, nirmama, nirahankara also. Ahankara also you should get rid of. Mamakara also you should get rid of. And then what happens when you get rid of all these kinds of things, you got a jnana, and then you are able to sit in a silent place with a very clear, dedicated mind and do Vedantic meditation, then shantaha, then tranquility starts sitting down in you. When you're able to get rid of all these kinds of disturbances, tranquility starts getting in you. And then when the tranquility starts getting in you by a regular practice, it is not that one day you do this activity of Nididhyasana, you are not going to get a tranquility. It is a kind of a very, very long process. And many of the people whom I know who have been in this kind of spiritual journey, they have been doing this kind of a meditation every day for the last 30, 40 years. They definitely ensure that meditation is going to be an important part of their daily routine. Okay. And apart from that, also, whenever they are engaged in certain activities, they are able to keep them absolutely calm in terms of, internalizing a lot of things. So this is not a practice that you can just manage with few days and then say, yes, this is a kind of a capsule I've taken. Now I have become a kind of a spiritually grown person. Not possible. You have to have a kind of over time only this is going to happen. The knowledge assimilation and then getting rid of all these kinds of vasanas. Then what happens? Shantaha, tranquility starts prevailing. And then what happens? In that kind of a mind is now called Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. That kind of tranquility, when you are able to get in your mind through a very, very consistent practice, then you become fit to realize Brahman, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So that fitness, for getting into the fitness for realizing Brahman requires all these kinds of things. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and Nididhyasana also over sustained periods of time, ensuring that all these kinds of weeds. He has even given only few of these kinds of examples. Let us not assume that these are the only problems that we need to remove. Because Bhagavan has talked about a lot of values in that 20 values he has spoken, and lot of values he has spoken about in many parts of the entire Gita teaching. So we have to take this as a sample, but we have to address each one of these kinds of behavioral tendencies that we have as vasanas. Only when those things are removed over a period of time, then Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, then the mind is becoming absolutely fit for understanding Brahman and knowing Brahman and merging with Brahman. So Ahankaram, Balam, Darpam, Kamam, Krodha, and Parigraham, Vimuchya. Nirmama Shantaha Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So Vimuchya can perhaps come later also. Ahankaram, Balam, Darpam, Kamam, Krodham, Parigraham, Nirmamaha Vimuchya Shantaha Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. You will become eligible to or fit enough for understanding the Brahman. Or okay, next.
Lakshmi Bagini.
Yes,
Brahma Bhutah Prasannatma.
Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. Brahmabhuta Prasannatma.
Na shochati na kamshati.
Na shochati na kankshati. Na shochati na kankshati.
Brahma Bhutah Prasannatma. Na shochati na kamshati.
Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. Na shochati na kankshati. Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. Na shochati na kankshati.
Good. Next.
Usha Srinivasan Bagini.
Samas sarveshu bhuteshu.
Namaste Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Samasarveshu bhuteshu. Samasarveshu bhuteshu.
Madbhaktilabhate param.
Madbhaktilabhate param. Madbhaktilabhate param.
Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. Madbhaktilabhate param.
Samasarveshu bhuteshu. Madbhaktilabhate param. Samasarveshu bhuteshu. Madbhaktilabhate param.
Good. Next.
Sri Lakshmi Bagini.
Brahma Bhutah Prasannatma. Na shochati na kamshati. samah sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktil labhate param.
ब्रह्मभूतप्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिर्लभते पराम्.
Good. Next.
Lalita Bhagini.
ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिर्लभते पराम्.
Good. Next.
Mrinalini Gopalan Bhagini.
आम् ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिर्लभते पराम्.
Good. One more person.
Veena Fani Shri Bhagini.
ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिर्लभते पराम्.
So in the earlier sloka, he said Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. That particular person becomes fit enough for knowing Brahman. Now in this sloka, Bhagavan says Brahma Bhutaha, the one who has known Brahman, the one who has understood the Brahman. How is he going to be? Prasannatma, absolutely tranquil, Shanti, peaceful guy, peaceful person. So Prasannam, absolute clarity of everything. There's no ambiguity in thoughts. There's no clutter in the mind. There's nothing that he does not know. He knows everything. So Brahma Bhutaha Prasannatma, Prasanna, he is absolutely tranquil person. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Then what happens to him? Na shochati, na kamshati. He does not have any kinds of things for getting worried. And he doesn't have anything that he wants to desire in his life. Because he has been struggling all these days to know that nothing from the external world is going to make him happy. So he understood. But Karma Yoga itself has taught us to understand that the external world of things will not be able to make us internally happy. So he has already understood. So he has strived in terms of understanding the limitations of the world of objects, and he has been trying to go inside now. So when he has already gone inside, na kamshati, he has got no desires. He neither for the existing ones or for the new ones. Yesterday we studied about that. So he does not have a kama or spruha. Both of them are not there for him. Na shochati. So Bhagavan, what did he start off with the first shloka of Gita? Ashochan anvashochastum prajnabadamsya bhashate. That's what he said. The 11th shloka of the second chapter when Bhagavan started actual Bhagavad Gita for Arjuna. Ashocyananvashochastum prajnabadamsya bhashate. Gadasun agatasun cha nanushocanti panditaha. He said that gatasun agatasun na anushocanti pandita. He said that pandita means those people who are all absolutely knowing themselves very well, the Atma Jnanis, na shochati. He started off the first sloka of Gita itself only with that. Na shochati anupandita, na anushocanti panditaha. He said they are not at all going to get worried. That's the sloka he started. Now he says that after doing all these things, Karma Yoga, this Savana, Banana, Nidhyasana, and then sustained things, then you come to the situation where na shochati, na kankshati. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na shochati, na kankshati, because he is Purnam. He has got nothing that needs to be done. Okay, so he is a Apuryavanam Achala Pradishtam Samudramapa Pravishanti Sarve. Yadvat Kama, we have studied that also in the second chapter. Apuryamanam is absolutely full, brimming with peace and brimming with tranquility and brimming with absolute inner happiness. So what happens is that Karnataka and Tamil Nadu river water is always a big issue. Kaveri water they keep on fighting. But once there is a heavy rainfall in Karnataka, what happens is that without even they asking, the water will start flowing into Tamil Nadu. Similarly, for these kinds of people, it is always their peace and happiness will start flowing out because they are full. They are to the brim. Nothing more needs to be filled up. They are already filled up. So what happens is that the presence itself makes everybody absolutely happy because the karuna is going to flow from them. Happiness is going to flow from them. Peace is going to flow from them. They don't have to bother about keeping it because they are already full. So that is na shochati, na kankshati. then what happens to these people? How do they behave? Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. They are going to be absolutely unbiased with anyone. They have everybody is same for them. I think we have also studied a lot of shlokas in that. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. I think you were remembering this, no? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. When this person becomes Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, because of knowledge, this person has become absolutely humble in terms of behavior. And then for that person, Gavi, that is cow or a elephant or a dog or a dog eater or a pandita, everybody is same. Everybody looks for him, samam sarvesha bhuteshu means vidya gadiya sampanne. Then we are also samadukka sukha swastha samaloštashva kanchana tulya priya. That's also one sloka we have studied, no? Samadukka sukha, whether it is going to be sukha or a dukkha, is going to be equanimity. Samaloshtama kanchana, sama loshta ashma kanchana, whether it's going to be stone or whether it is going to be mud or it's going to be gold, for him everything is same. Tulya priyat, that is whether it's going to be tulya priyat, what is that sloka? Tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatva samstudihi, whether somebody is going to praise him or somebody is going to be talking abusive of him, whether Krishna is being abused by Duryodhana or somebody like Arjuna praises Krishna, tulya priya priyo dhira tulya nindatva samstudihi. They are not going to get affected at all by any of these kinds of things because they don't require recognition from somebody. Oh, he is a great jnani, he has got worship. No, they are absolutely atmanya tushtaha. He is happy within himself. So he will only be giving happiness and peace to other people. From inside, they are absolutely full. They're not looking for endorsement by somebody. They are not looking for somebody to praise him. They're not looking at anybody not praising him. He's not going to get his ego hurt. How can he not praise me? Nothing, because they are ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodam, vimuchya. They're all beyond that. So that is the ultimate lakshana of a person who has been able to get Brahma Bhutaha, the one who is able to understand Brahma. So samas sarvesha bhuteshu. But then what happens? Madbhaktim labate param. The supreme devotion to me he'll be able to get. So he'll be, getting into the supreme devotion to me. Bhagavan is now also telling that's me. But madbhaktim labate param. He will become devoted to me, supreme devotion to me. That's what he says. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that once this particular person goes there, he is devoted to the presence of Lord within himself, which itself is a Brahman within himself, which is understood. So he is going to be absolutely connected to that. He is always going to be aikyam with that. So that is what Bhagavan says, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. There's also one more sloka, no? Suhrun Mittar Udasinan Madhyastad Vesha Bandushu. We have seen that, no? Suhrun, whether he is going to be a friend, Mitra is, Suhrun is good-hearted people, Suhrun. Mitra is friend, Hari is enemy. Then Madhyastan means a mediator, Veshya means the person who hates, or Bandhu. For all these people, this person has got the same kind of posture. He does not say that he is good, he is bad. No. So that is also another sloka. I think those sloka numbers, no, you can just note it down. 5.18 is the Vidya Vinaya Sampanne is 5.18. 14.24 is Sukha Dukkha Sukha Swastaha Samaloštashva Kanchana. 6.9 is Suhun Mitra Arir Udasinan Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhushu. So these are all the kinds of slokas, which will come into place when we start looking at Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Okay, Mad Bhaktim Labadhe Param. So this is the Brahma Bhutaha, the person who has been able to understand himself, understand that he is the Brahman. Okay. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashotati Nakamshati Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labadhe Param. Next.
Sai Lakshmi Bhagini.
Bhaktya Mama Bijanati.
Bhaktya Mama Bhijanati. Bhaktya Mama
Yavanyaschasmi Tattvataha.
यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः
ततो next please Manjana Bahini
yes Mahodaya. Lakshmi Bhagini.
ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा
ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा
विशते तदनन्तरम्
विशते तदनन्तरम्
ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्
ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्
Good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्
Good. Next.
Sharat Chavan Mahodaya.
Oh. Hello. तद्भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्.
Good. Next.
Usha Srinivasan Bhagini.
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्.
Good. One more person.
Kashmira Bhagini.
Yes. भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्.
Okay, good. So in the previous sloka, Bhagavan had told Madbhaktim labate param. He will be able to be highly devoted to me. Okay, Madbhaktim labate. He will be able to attain. Labate means attain. He will be able to attain the highest level of bhakti of the supreme nature of me. That's what he said. So that means there's still a kind of duality between the Brahman and the individual. Though there is also duality has been removed, still there is some amount of bhakti is there with the individual or the supreme Bhagavan. So bhaktya mam abhijanati. So with that kind of a devotion, ultimately for nididhyasanam, lot of devotion is required. So how when you say bhaktya mam abhijanati, mam abhijanati means what? Knowing me. How do you know me? By bhaktya. Which kind of bhaktya? Vedantic meditation. So Vedantic meditation, how did you come to that? Shravana, Manana, and then Nididhyasana only I should come. So every process that you are doing, right from Karma Yoga, that is also Bhakti. Karma Yoga Bhakti. Upasana Bhakti. Then we have Shravana Bhakti. Even when you are learning with so much of devotion, right? So all those things are directed towards the Bhakti. So how did you ultimately come to know about the Bhagavan? Bhaktya. Bhaktya means right from the time you started off with the Sakama to Nishkama karma yoga is shifted. I don't want to do any more of Sakama, which is going to be selfish karma. I'll change your Nishkama karma yoga. And from that particular time onwards, you started having a kind of a devotion to Bhagavan. Because when you enter Nishkama karma, that time itself, you had a Ishvara Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, then you already started having a devotion to Bhagavan, that what I am doing is to be done and what I am doing is for the Bhagavan. So that bhakti has started from Karma Yoga, bhakti has been there with Upasana Yoga, bhakti has been there with Vedanta meditation to Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Then with all these kinds of things and also having the knowledge of the Bhagavan, then what happens? Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Then at the end of the day, you know Bhaktyaha mam abhijanati. Then how do you know him? Yavan yaschasmi. You will be able to understand that truly you will be able to understand who I am, what I am, how I am related to you, what are you, what is Jagat, what is Srishti Karanam, all those kinds of things that we have been studying so far. Yavan yaschapi tattvadaha. Truly a person is able to understand what the Bhagavan is. Then what happens? Tataha. Then what happens? Mam tattvato jatva. Then after knowing me truly, tataha, mam tattvato jatva, vishate tadanantaram. Then you are going to enter into me. Arjuna was looking at Vishwarupa Darshana and he felt that Vishwarupa Darshana is different, I am different, and then the duality was there. But now with all these kinds of bhakti which has been there, which has been built up, and then with a strong understanding of the jnana, and then putting effort on nididhyasana, removing all the kinds of obstacles like kamam, krodam, balam, darpam, all those kinds of things we remove and then have a sustained vididhyasanam, getting into a kind of bhakti, and through that bhakti you are able to understand Bhagavan, and then by understanding that Bhagavan, you are able to also relate this entire thing to the entire tattva of Bhagavan. We talked about the creation, the creator, and then the substratum of everything you understand. Yaschan tattvadaha, yaschan yaschasmi. What kind of characteristics I have, those things and all you understand. Tataha. After that, mam tattvato jnatva. After knowing me truly, vishate sadanantaram. That means you enter into me, which means that Jivan and the Ishvara Aikyam takes place. Okay. So at the end of the day, if you look at that way, we have been trying to understand how does the Jivatma and Paramatma Aikyam takes place. Bhagavan says that this is the process. If this is the process only, Jivatma will be able to merge with Aisatma. Vishate tadanantaram. After knowing your thing. Then once you know and enter into the Bhagavan, what does it mean? I am Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. All those kinds of things will become extremely clear to you. So, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasmi Tattvataha Tataha Mam Tattvataha Jnatva Vishate Tadanantaram. Next.
Sri Lakshmi Bhagini.
Sarvakarmanyapi sada.
Sri Lakshmi Bhagini.
Yes, madam. Excuse me. 1 minute. Sarvakarmanyapi sada. Sarvakarmanyapi sada.
Kurvano madhyapashtrayah.
Kurvano madhyapashrayah. Kurvano madhyapashrayah.
Madhyapashrayah.
Madhyapashrayah. Madhyapashrayah.
Madhyapashrayah.
Madhyapashrayah. Right?
Yes.
Kurvano madhyapashrayah. Kurvano madhyapashrayah.
Sarvakarmanyapi sada. Kurvano madhyapashrayah.
Sarvakarmanyapi sada. Kurvano madhyapashrayah. Sarvakarmanyapi sada. Kurvano madhyapashrayah.
Good. Next.
Meela Shinde Bhagini.
Mat prasadadabapnoti.
मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति
शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्
शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम् शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्
मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं परपदमव्ययम्
मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम् मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्
Good. Next.
Vijayalakshmi Bhagini.
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्.
Good. Next.
Gurumurthy Mahodaya.
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्.
Good. Next.
Lalita Bhagini.
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्.
Good. So Bhagavan has now talked up to the 41 to 49, he was talking about Karma Yoga. Then 50 to 55, he has been talking about how to do Nididhyasanam, Savana Mana Nididhyasanam, focusing on Nididhyasanam and understanding oneself, and then Aikyam with Bhagavan. That's what he completed in 55th sloka. Then maybe Bhagavan has realized that Nididhyasanam is something for asking for too much on people. And because Nididhyasanam has got to be done on a individual basis. It is not that you can come to a class and do Nididhyasanam. You have to find a place in your home or anywhere you are there, and you have to put the effort for Nididhyasanam. Sravanam, Mananam, you can do. Sravanam, you will come to the class, and then 1 hour you can be sitting in the class. There is going to be somebody who is going to be giving a lecture, or you may have a book which is going to be reference for you. You can do Sravanam. And then you can also have some doubts, then you can also ask somebody and get the doubts clarified. Whereas for Nididhyasanam, nobody is going to be there. Nididhyasanam has got to be done only by an individual themselves. It is not that, 2:15 to 3:30, there's a class, will be able to devote this time. If you are told that you have to find time between every day morning 6:15 to 6:45 time for doing meditation, many people may have a challenge. They may always try to postpone that, and they may not be able to find that kind of time, etc. So Bhagavan, we felt that Nididhyasanam and then having a very Vedantic meditation, sometimes he felt that for the normal people like us, it is becoming extremely difficult, and many people may not perhaps be taking that kind of a interest in this life itself. So, and he looking at Arjuna's face also, he realized that this fellow, I am asking too much from Arjuna. So Bhagavan again now is shifting his gear, instead of going to a higher gear from Nididhyasanam to Aikyam and all. Yes, once again he thought that it is essential for him to shift it to lower gear and then talk about Karma Yoga for him. Because at the end of the day, Karma Yoga is one thing that is going to make a person extremely convinced and prepare the mind for jnana and then commit himself for Nididhyasana and do things. Okay. So now he realized that Arjuna at this particular point in time in the battlefield and all, it is becoming difficult for him to understand whether he has got to leave everything, go to Himalayas or go for a fight, etc. And every one of us may also have difficulty in Nididhyasana. So Bhagavan is now shifting gears downwards and is again talking about Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga, also you may have to understand, Karma Yoga is also one form of Bhakti. Without Karma Yoga, Bhakti also is not there. Without Ishvara, Karma Yoga cannot be there. The reason is that when we have the Karma Yoga attitude, then we have, what is the attitude that we have in Karma Yoga? We have to have the attitude that whatever I am doing, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. See, a God is always a part of Karma Yoga. Then Karma Phalam also we say Prasada Buddhi. Again, God is associated with what you get in return. So Karma Yoga per se cannot be done without the Bhakti for Bhagavan. So Bhagavan says that it is essential that Karma Yoga itself is something which has got to be strengthened thoroughly. Karma Yoga is something where people have to focus a lot. So he is again now coming back to Karma Yoga. From this sloka 56 to 62 or so, he is going to talk about Karma Yoga only. So Sarva Karmanyapi Sada Kurvano Madhya Pashriya. He says, whenever you are doing any kind of karma, okay, Madhya Pashriya, you please ensure that you are going to be Yapashriya. Then always take shelter in me, or please depend on me. When you are doing a karma, please always have a dependence on me. Why does he say dependence on me? Because karma has got two different things. You do an action is always going to be having one thing is individual perspective, effort is required. That effort has got to be put by you. So any effort that is being put by you, it may be a selfless effort for helping somebody or helping other people, but that effort also has got to be a high quality of effort. So one of the elements of karma yoga is effort. The second important element is that what we are doing has got to have Ishvara Anugraha. Only when Ishvara Anugraha is there, and then effort, appropriate action by you is there, and the Ishvara Anugraha is there, that karma will become the kind of a fructified karma with the kind of right kind of result that needs to be had. So Karma Yoga, we have to understand that Ishvara has already there. So without Ishvara, nothing can be done. So he says that you please ensure that you do a karma. You are always depending on me. Sada mad apashraya kurvanaha sarva karmani. Everything that you do, you please ensure that you are going to depend on me. Okay? Because Karma Yogi is going to do only good karmas. So even doing good karma, he says that Bhagavan, I am going to do this karma, please bless me with the right kind of karma. So that is what he says that Mad Japashriya means always depend on me or always take shelter in me. Then what happens? Mad Prasad Avapnoti. Then what happens? Ishvara Prasada comes to us. Karma Palam is Ishvara Prasada. So he says Mad Prasada. My Prasada will be available for you. Mad Prasada Avapnoti. And what else is that? Avapnoti means it is the result is going to be there for the action that you have done. But Bhagavan is assuring another important result. Shashvatam Padam Avyayam. He says that based on the karma that you do, I'll ensure that the prasada is going to be given back to you. That can be a karma pala. But do not start evaluating the karma pala. Accept the karma pala as a kind of Ishvara prasada, and then you will be ultimately progressing towards eternal Padam Avyayam, the unchangeable, supreme abode you will be able to reach, eternal abode that you will be able to reach, which is nothing but Brahman. So he says that do your karma with a kind of dependence on me, and then start every karma by telling Om Tat Sat. We remember that we studied that in the 17th chapter. Om Tat Sat. You start off everything by putting it under the Bhagavan. After the karma is over, also Om Tat Sat. You put that Kayena Vacha Manasendriya Sarvam Krishna Pramastu. When you do that, then Bhagavan says that don't worry about what is the action. You put your right effort, the result of the action is all my prasada, and you will be ensured of a Shashpatam Padam Avyayam. I will take care of that kind of a movement for you, for a growth for you. And this is very beautifully, and I read in one commentary. Yeah, if you look at a kind of a game of tennis, you had a play between Djokovic and Sinner 2 days back. Yesterday, I think, day before, we had a Shanghai finals. So Djokovic and Sinner were playing, and Djokovic lost. Sinner won the match. Djokovic put all his efforts, but he lost. So at the end of the day, when the finals is played, there's only one person who can win. So there's other person is a loser. So Djokovic has to accept that as okay, this is what I got today. That's the kind of acceptance that he has to have. But the other important thing is that yes, I played with full effort. I just became the runner-up. But what I have gained at the end of these 4 hours is that I have been able to improve my fitness by playing for 4 hours against this tough champion like Sinner. So you also gain. You may be a loser from the cup point of view, but from the point of view of your health and then your stamina and other things, you have gained. So every karma that you do, the results need not be in line with what everybody perceives as a success. Need not be. It's a prasada. And the prasada and the attitude of prasada. But Bhagavan is now only trying to talk about the attitude of karma yoga through bhakti, and attitude is talking about. And the attitude is that you are going to have this kind of an attitude. And when you have the prasada buddhi, then ultimately Shashvatam Padam Avliyam, you will be now moving towards eternal, changeless, highest supreme nature. That's what Bhagavan says in this. Sarva karmanyapi sada purbano madhyapashrayah mad prasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavyam. So he's again harping on karma yoga. We have to understand that karma yoga is extremely an important sadhana for all of us, including the sannyasis also. Karma yoga is required. They have to ensure that they are very well prepared to karma yoga. Because that is the way Bhagavan continues to harp on karma yoga. Because karma yoga, the attitude that you have with karma yoga is the one that is really going to lead you to higher place. Like Janaka is the greatest example of a Raja Rishi. He was in the king of the Mithila. He had all the responsibilities. He was a karma yogi, but he was a jnani also. So that is the kind of thing that we always need to have a example in front of us when we are looking at karma yoga. Next.
Lakshmi Bhagini.
Chetasa sarva karmani.
Chetasa sarva karmani. Chetasa sarva karmani.
Mayi sanyasya matparaha.
Mayi sanyasya matparaha. Mayi sanyasya matparaha.
Chetasa sarva karmani. Mayi sanyasya matparaha.
Chetasa sarva karmani. Mayi sanyasya matparaha. Chetasa sarva karmani. Mayi sanyasya matparaha.
Good.
Bhanureka Bhagini.
Buddhi yoga mupashritya.
बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य
Chitta satatam bhava.
मच्चित्तः सततं भव मच्चित्तः सततं भव
Buddhi yoga mupashritya. Chitta satatam bhava.
बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव.
Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
Chetasa sarva karmani. Mayi sanyasya matparaha. Buddhi yoga mupashritya. Chitta satatam bhava.
Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogamupashritya machittas satatam bhava.
Next.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव.
Good. One more person.
Veena Fanishri Bhagini.
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव.
Good. So he is now talking about karma yoga. He says Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha. He says Chetasa means mentally, sarva karmani, all the kinds of karmas that you're doing, mayi sanyasya, you give it up to me. With what? With a goal of matparaha, the supreme goal of reaching across to me, matparaha. With me as a supreme goal, sarva karmani chetasa, all the actions that you're doing, Mentally, please hand it over to me. Mayi sanyasya matparaha. Chetasa sarvakarmani mayi sanyasya matparaha. Buddhi yoga mupashtitya. Buddhi yoga mupashtitya means is primarily karma yoga. Karma yoga, you have to utilize your intellect and understand that you have to have Ishvararpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. So that Prasada Buddhi and Ishvararpana Buddhi comes into Karma Yoga, that becomes Buddhi Yoga. So resorting to Buddhi Yoga, that is Ishvararpana and Prasada Buddhi, Machitta Satatam Bhava, always keep your thinking on me. Machitta Satatam, always be connected with me, always be devoted to me, always be having bhakti with me. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha. I am the absolute goal. With that intention, whatever you are doing, please dedicate it back to me. Mai sanyasya, give it up to me. Buddhi yoga dubashitya machitta satatam bhava. So he says that you do the sarva, this karma yoga and keep me as the ultimate objective that you have to, ultimate goal that you have to achieve, and give up all the kinds of things that you have. Because prasada and all, you take it as prasada and do not get into any other worry because of those kinds of things. And that's what is essential for you. And always be connected with me. Machitta sarva bhava. Next.
Sri Lakshmi Bhagini.
Yes, sir.
Machitta sarva durgani.
Machitta sarva durgani. Machitta sarva durgani.
Matprasadattarishyasi.
Matprasadattarishyasi. Matprasadattarishyasi.
Machitta sarva durgani. Matprasadattarishyasi.
Machitta sarva durgani. Matprasadattarishyasi. Machitta sarva durgani. Matprasadattarishyasi.
Good. Next.
Sheila Shinde Bhagini.
Atha chettvamahankarat.
अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारात् अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारात्
Nashtroshyasi vinankshyasi.
न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्षसि न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्षसि
Atha chettvamahankarat. Nashtroshyasi vinankshyasi.
अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारात् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्षसि अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारात् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्षसि.
Good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
Machitta sarva durgani. Matprasadattarishyasi. Atha chettvamahankarat. Nashtroshyasi vinankshyasi.
मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि.
Full sloka, please.
Sharat Chavan Mahodaya.
Yes, sir. Full shloka.
Yes.
Machitta sarvadurgani matprasadattarishyasi atachettvamahankarat na shrosyasi vinankshyasi.
Next.
Kashmira Bhagini.
मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात्तरिष्यसि अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारात् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि.
Okay, so Bhagavan says that Machitta hai. So we said that you have your mind dedicated to me, bhakti towards me, Machitta hai. Then when you do that, what happens? Mat prasada. Then I is going to definitely bless you. Ishvara prasada is going to be with you. Ishvara's anugraha is going to be with you. So Machitta hai. Mat prasadat tarishyasi. You will be able to cross over. What is that you will be able to cross over? Sarva durgani. Durga means not that Durga Lakshmi Saraswati or what we do in Navaratri. Durga also has a meaning of obstacles. So Sarva Durgani means all the obstacles, whatever you may have you in your life, Chitta, if you are able to be dedicated to me by understanding Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, that is understanding Ishvarapana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi, with that, when you are able to do all the karma and you are able to keep your mind continuously connected with me, then because of my Prasada or my Anishvara Anugraha, you will be able to cross over Sarva Durgani, all kinds of obstacles. Okay. On the contrary, Atha, Chet, on the contrary, Ahankara, just because of your own ego, Nashtrosashi, you don't even listen to what I am talking. You know, all these kinds of Vedanta, the reason why a person has become a human being, what is the Purushartha that we have, why moksha is a how moksha is a possibility, how somebody can, have a way of life which is going to help him in terms of spiritual growth. If all these things is not getting into the deaf ears of somebody or you, Nashtrosashi, why Ahankara, because of your own ego, then Vinakshasi, you are going to only destroy yourself. Destroy yourself is not that person is going to kill himself. He is going to make the entire life as a waste. Because the Bhagavan has given this body, only with this body and this buddhi, we are in a position to start spiritually elevate ourselves and then get into better kinds of movement and then understanding Aham Brahmasmi, etc. If we don't do that, what happens? Janma karma, and if also the karma that you are doing is not going to be in dharma, in line with the dharma, then muda yonishu, you will also be given birth to certain lower levels of animals and other kinds of problems, or other kinds of species that you will be born into. So if Vinamshasi by this Bhagavan says is that you have been given the wonderful opportunity, and if you are not going to listen to me because of your own ego, you are only going to get yourself destroyed. Destroyed in the sense you will be now getting into the cycle of birth and samsara, etc. If you are a good guy, you will be coming in a cycle of birth and death, or you will also be relegated to lower levels of birth, which is like a worm or a insect or a kind of lion where there's no opportunity for spiritual growth. So it is your choice. So Machitta Sarva Durgani Mat Prasadat Parishyasi, you'll be able to cross over everything because of my blessings to you, Ishvara Anugraha. Atachet Ahankarat, Nashtroshasi, Vinamshasi. In case you don't even listen to me because of your own ego, you only start going to lose on that. You are going to be a loser and you are going to be getting yourself destroyed. So that is the meaning of this. Maybe we'll take one more shloka.
Bhanureka Bhagini.
Yadahankaramashritya
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य
न योच्य इति मन्यसे
न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योच्य इति मन्यसे
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे.
Good.
Usha Srinivasan Bhagini.
मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते
मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते
प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति
प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति
मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति
मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति.
Good. Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योच्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्थे प्रकृतिस्त्वान्नियोक्ष्यति.
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति.
Good. Next.
Mrinalini Gopalan Bhagini.
आम् भगिनि यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वान् नियोक्ष्यति.
Okay, good. So in the earlier sloka, Bhagavan said, supposing because of your ego, ahankarat, nashosyasi, if you are not going to listen to me, then vinakshati, you are only going to, vinakshasi means you are only going to destroy yourself. So now he is continuing with the same talk. Yad, in case, ahankaram ashtitya, if you are going to take to your ahankara and then decide, na yotsya iti manyase, decide that I am not going to do this war. In case you are also going to get into your own ego trip, and then you say that I am not going to fight this war because I am very clear. Krishna, I heard everything. I am not going to fight this war. If you are going to decide that on your own ego, Yesha Vyavasaya, this kinds of decision that you are taking, Yesha Vyavasaya, by whom te means that the decision taken by you, Arjuna, Mithya is all untrue. Because why is untrue? Tvam prakritihi niyokshati. The prakriti is your own nature, is going to make you compelled to do the fighting. You cannot do that. You will not be able to keep quiet. You will definitely, your own swabhava will come into picture, and then you will start taking up your arms and then you will start fighting. So it is only a kind of mithya. The decision that you take is purely a kind of untenable, untrue kind of decision that you take, because your own nature will compel you to do the fighting ultimately after hearing this also. So do not get into the kind of any kind of ahankara coming to you and then you say, I am not going to fight. It's all not a tenable one. Those kinds of determination you cannot have, because you will be compelled by your own nature to fight. If something happens immediately, his anger level will go up, his swabhava will be there, Kshatriya clan, he'll take the thing and go and fight. So he says that this is what is going to happen. So ahankara, you have to give it up. Okay. So ultimately, what is to be done is got to be done, and what is to be done when you do, then will be some na avapsyasi. You will not be getting any kinds of sin. That's the kind of understanding we need to have. So Bhagavan is now trying to once again tell Arjuna that Karma Yoga is extremely important. The attitude of Karma Yoga is important. Bhakti to Karma Yoga is important. So giving up everything to Bhagavan is very, very important. And then giving up the ahankara is important. And then without ahankara, what is to be done, you have got to do. And just because you take a decision that I will not do this fighting because of your ego, but your prakriti, your swabhava is going to be that you have got to fight, you will naturally be, starting to fight by your own self. So we'll stop with this and then we'll continue tomorrow. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shantah brahma bhuyaya kalpate brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktil labate param bhaktya mama bijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato man tatvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram sarva karmanyapि sada kurvano madhya pashtrayah madhyasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matparah buddhi yogamupashtitya Chitta satatham bhava Macchitta sarva durgani Madratadattarishyasi Atachetvam ahankarat Nashroshyasi vinangshyasi Yadahankaramashchitya Nayosya iti manyase Mityesha vyavasayaste Prakritistvam niyokshati Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.